Guys, I hope everyone is doing well today. So in this video, I just wanted to make a short statement of sorts to kind of summarize and give you my current view on the market. Been having a lot of interesting discussions in my Discord and in some other people's Discords over this week. People asking me, I'm getting lots and lots of questions. I have this opportunity to buy this at what I think is a really good price. Should I buy it, or is the market going to keep falling? Right. This is the current anxiety, and even people who are really huge fans of Pokemon and big believers in the market and have been here a really long time are in this sort of dilemma where I really do believe in this, but I'm scared. I'm scared to put a lot of money into this. How far could it fall? Could this have been a fad, or people not interested in Pokemon anymore, or not interested in collectibles or cards? Is that sort of over because the pandemic's over? These types of questions. And although I think that some of that risk has always been there, and it's something that I've talked about the entire time on this channel, that there is some of that risk, and that fear is reasonable, and you should be incorporating that into sort of your overall market analysis and your risk tolerance of what you're willing to spend and put into something like this and what you're willing to lose. The extremeness of the switch between what we've talked about on this channel is that irrational exuberance, as in like, Jake, you're just an evil, you're just a doom and gloom. Evil's more of the rude word, but that people use out there. But Jake, you're just more of the doom and gloom bear guy. I've really been trying to combat that sort of irrational exuberance all year. Now I see this switch to this really irrational pessimism that I'm going to try to continue to talk about on this channel. I can tell you unequivocally, now is the best time to be buying Pokemon over the last 2 years. Now is your best time to be buying. And one thing I try and talk to people about is that if you have been buying all year, okay, and now all of a sudden you've stopped buying, just now. So you've listened to my channel and you've been like, that Jake doesn't know what he's talking about, and the market's going to keep going up, and he's too pessimistic, and he's too doom and gloomy, or you haven't watched my channel, maybe you're just stumbling on it now. When the market is high like that, you want to be selling into it, okay? When the market is low or pessimistic like it is now, you want to be buying. It is not that complicated if you believe in the overall market and the long term of the market. You should never have been buying at the height if you didn't believe in the overall long-term market. And so if you were buying then and are not buying now, it shows that you weren't actually buying on your own market analysis, on your convictions. You were falling for herd mentality, okay? Now, if you were very pessimistic all year, okay, and you're still pessimistic now, and you think that, the cards that I'm buying, I'm not sure. I really don't believe that they can really go lower, and I think that I'll do quite well. But there's certainly plenty of cards right now that I would not be buying, and have gone into greater detail in other long videos and also in Patreon on the types of things I'm looking at, and the types of prices I'm paying for things. This is certainly not a message of like, go out there and just like buy every single thing you can and spend yourself into debt. I never ever suggest anything like that. But if you were someone, right, who was buying all year and now has suddenly shifted and is fearful, you are following the herd mentality, and you are falling into a classic investment trap that 90%, plus percent of people probably fall into. And it's why people who day trade and try to time markets and come in and out of markets almost always screw it up and lose money. There are amazing studies on the stock market and amazing studies done on certain investors and hedge fund managers and people who would invest their money with some of these hedge fund managers, and how the hedge fund manager would year in and year out make 10, 15, 20% every year, on average. in terms of their investment growth or the growth of their investments. But you'd have a lot of people who would lose money on investing in their hedge fund or in what the same stocks that the person was investing in or talking about investing in, because they would buy at the height and then panic sell and then rebuy it at the height and then panic sell again, and they would miss all of the growth because they're not focused on the fundamentals. They're not focused on, do they believe in the underlying desirability and the supply and demand fundamentals of the product. Okay, and so if you're a person who has never believed in pop culture collectibles, and I certainly do not believe in pop culture collectibles as some sort of magical superior thing to be throwing lots of money into, and I would, again, not a financial advisor here, but I would never encourage anyone to put money into collectibles before you are saving a certain comfortable percentage for retirement, are possibly putting it into other investments and have some sort of emergency fund and have a really good income, and that you don't absolutely love collectibles, because I think a major reason why you should do this or are going to have any success is because you are so passionate about this stuff and it brings you so much happiness. But if you meet all that criteria, I think this is and all I can say is this is what I'm doing. I'm buying a lot right now. I think I'm going to be very happy, despite the even maybe the anxiety that I can feel sometimes in this. I know it's very irrational, and I've been through multiple bubbles in my life and multiple pops, and I always remember that this feeling is the same feeling that I had even earlier on in the year, after the pandemic, when a lot of my stocks, I'm a big investor in Berkshire and Hathaway, for example, and Berkshire and Hathaway was greatly underperforming, and it was very frustrating, and Warren Buffett was coming out and he was saying, we have $300 billion in cash, but we can't figure out any place to put it, and we feel like everything is overvalued, and then you're looking around and you're seeing a lot of what I think are, silly speculative companies, people making lots of money, particularly, on your, I'm not going to name names, but I bet a lot of you guys can figure out the types of companies that just aren't necessarily real businesses yet, but are based kind of more on, future expected growth or earnings that they might achieve someday. These types of things, and are far more risk-taking, high risk type companies, and companies that tend to attract people who are looking for very large returns very quickly, versus kind of your really kind of steady but significant growth. A company like Berkshire, Berkshire's done very, very well over the last couple of years also, overall, particularly recently. But all that beside the point, but I believe, I guess to summarize, I really believe that whatever you invest in life, you have got to get a handle of this following the herd mentality. And as I was saying before, I understand it myself and have experienced it myself, but I never give into it. And I stay principled. I always manage risk. I never put all my eggs in one basket, and I'm always aware, as I said in the very beginning of this video, of the potential continued downslide and or just kind of flatness of a lot of the cards I'm buying into. I'm aware of that risk, but I'm also very confident that it makes a lot of sense to be starting to buy some of these items. For me, in my personal situation, I believe in it. I'm going to do what I think is best for myself, and also what is fun and enjoyable. And I don't think anyone should put money into the Pokemon card, anything that makes them, truly uncomfortable. But I do think that if you cannot sort of tolerate these types of things, this is a very good sign that you should certainly not be day trading or trying to time any markets. Like if your instincts are to buy at the top and then sell in times like this, or get out at times like this, you are going to get hurt by anything that you get involved in, even if that thing is a sort of long-term winner and has great fundamentals going into the future. So, and I've talked in depth on this channel about why I feel so optimistic about Pokemon. All of these companies putting money into this right now, the humongous market cap that sports has over Pokemon, the fact that Pokemon is the #1 pop culture franchise, the fact that I think our generation who's very into Pokemon is going to have more and more disposable income as time goes on, the fact that I think you're going to have multiple generations in it, and it's just sort of like there's just so much upside and upside potential that that's where I'm at with everything. So thank you all for listening. I really, I just want everyone to know what they're getting into, to understand the risks, and to be responsible, with their money. And I think a lot of people who watch this channel, a lot of people in this hobby are very responsible. And, I also do want to caution being overly, overbuying in a time like this can also be a risk in terms of, leveraging yourself on credit cards or buying too much now because there are so many good deals and you might feel the same way that I do. You also have to be careful with that because it can take a long time for these items to go up, for all the supply to be absorbed, because there is still so much supply depending on what you're buying at PSA, at CGC, etc. So be safe out there, have fun, enjoy yourself, and above all else, treat people well, please. It's just unnecessary to demonize people, to question people's motives without evidence. We can agree to disagree on things and have different opinions without questioning the motives behind those opinions. I encourage people to have a difference of opinion from me who view these things differently. I love when you share it in the chat below, and I'd also love to have people on the channel who have reasoned arguments for why they think maybe now is not a good time to buy, or the best of Pokemon is behind us. These types of things. I'm happy. I've been engaging in a lot of those arguments and debates over the last few weeks, and again, I just think it's so ironic. And something that for people who've been watching this channel a long time, know so well, that I predicted that this exact thing was going to happen, and that I would then be getting yelled at and argued against by a whole different group of people who, because I kind of knew all the time that I had this sort of middle of the market type view. So anyway, it is what it is. Appreciate all of the continued support. Clicking the eBay affiliate link below, joining the Patreon, really trying to build something sustainable, and every time you do that, it helps support that, and hopefully, and I'm going to work really hard to just be this reliable, caring person, and caring, very engaged person in this hobby, to hopefully really provide good helpful ideas and critiques, and where hopefully if you continue to watch this channel and engage in this type of stuff, you make smarter purchases, you feel better overall about the hobby, and you're able to weather these ups and downs a lot more effectively. So hopefully I am, giving back as much as I am getting. Okay, that's my continued goal. Okay, so everyone take care out there, and talk to you again soon.